What if I told you that right now your body is missing one tiny but critical signal? A signal that keeps your joints moving freely, your muscles working together, and your body balanced and strong. And without it, a single ordinary movement, getting up from a chair, reaching for something on a shelf, or just walking across a room, could turn into a pulled muscle, a stumble, or something far worse. That is not meant to scare you. That is meant to wake you up, because the truth is, most people over 60 have no idea that stiffness, aching joints, and that feeling of being locked up in your own body is not just aging. It is something you can actually fix. And today, I am going to show you exactly how. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. I'm Dr. Adrian Fairborn. I've spent over 2 decades watching patients in their 60s, 70s, and 80s come into my clinic frustrated, in pain, and convinced that their bodies were simply done. And what I found over and over again is that the problem wasn't age, it was that nobody had ever taught them how to move. The information that helps people get their mobility back should not stay locked inside a clinic. That is why I created this channel. Let me start by telling you what is actually happening inside your body when you feel stiff, slow, or restricted. Because most people think stiffness is just part of getting older. It is not. It is the result of years of limited movement, prolonged sitting, and a gradual tightening of the soft tissue that surrounds every single joint in your body. Think of your connective tissue, the fascia, the ligaments, the tendons, like a brand new garden hose. When it is young and well used, it is flexible, supple, and it bends without resistance. But leave that same hose sitting in the sun for 20 years, barely used, and it becomes brittle, stiff, and it cracks when you try to bend it. That is what is happening to the tissues around your joints when you are not moving them through their full range every single day. There is a name for what this leads to. It is called adaptive shortening. That is when your muscles and surrounding tissue literally shorten and tighten in response to the position you spend the most time in. For most people over 60, that position is sitting. Research published in the Journal of Gerontology found that adults over 65 who sit for more than 8 hours a day show measurable reductions in hip flexibility, spinal mobility, and overall functional movement compared to those who move regularly. And here is the number that should matter to you. People with restricted hip mobility are more than 3 times more likely to experience a fall than those who maintain good range of motion. But here is the really good news. Adaptive shortening is reversible. Your body does not know how old you are. It only knows what you do with it. And starting today, with 5 specific exercises, you can begin to undo years of tightening and give yourself back the freedom of movement you thought was gone for good. Stay with me, because the second exercise I'm about to show you is the one most doctors never mention, and it is the one that unlocks almost everything else. Exercise number 1, the sciatic nerve release, also called a nerve glide. Now, I want to start here because this is the most commonly missed piece of the mobility puzzle. When most people feel tightness running down the back of their thigh, they assume it is a tight hamstring. So they stretch it, they pull their leg, they bend forward, they push through the discomfort, and nothing changes, or worse, it gets tighter. Here is what is actually happening. The sciatic nerve, the longest nerve in your entire body, running from your lower back all the way down through your leg and into your foot, can become restricted and compressed after years of sitting. When that nerve is compressed, it pulls. It creates a tension that travels down the back of your leg and feels exactly like a tight hamstring. But it is not. Stretching a restricted nerve the way you would stretch a muscle does not work. In fact, aggressive stretching can inflame the nerve further. Picture this. You are a 68-year-old retired teacher. You get up from your favorite armchair and you feel that familiar pull behind your knee. You try to stretch it out. You bend forward, reaching for your toes, and instead of relief, you feel a sharp tightness travel all the way up to your lower back. That is your sciatic nerve under tension, not your hamstring asking for a deeper stretch. What you need instead is a nerve glide. Here's how you do it. Lie down on your back on a firm surface. Your bed or the floor are both fine. Hook both hands behind one thigh just above the knee. Slowly begin to straighten that leg, extending it upward until you feel a gentle, mild stretch behind your thigh or behind your knee. Not pain, just a light awareness of tension. Hold that for 1 second, then slowly bend the knee back down. That is 1 repetition. Go back and forth, slowly and gently, for about 90 seconds on each leg. What this does is gently floss the sciatic nerve back and forth through the tissue that surrounds it. Research published in the Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy found that nerve gliding exercises significantly reduced tension and improved hamstring flexibility in older adults in as few as 4 weeks of regular practice. Not months, weeks. Do this every morning before you get out of bed, just 90 seconds per leg, and many people feel a difference within the very first session. If you are still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you are with me. Exercise number 2, the deep hip opener, also known as the deep squat hold. Your hips are the center of your entire body. Every time you stand up, sit down, walk, climb stairs, or shift your weight from one foot to the other, your hips are doing the primary work. And when your hips lose their range of motion, which they begin to do in your late 50s and accelerates through your 60s and 70s if left unaddressed, the consequences are felt everywhere. Your lower back compensates. Your knees take on stress they were never designed to handle. Your ankles stiffen. Your balance suffers. And the simple act of getting up from a low chair starts to feel like an effort. This is not dramatic. A study published in the American Journal of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation found that hip mobility declines by an average of 17% per decade after the age of 50 in adults who do not engage in targeted mobility work. 17% per decade. By the time you are 70, that compounds into a significant loss of freedom of movement. The deep squat hold addresses this directly. Here's what I want you to do. Stand with your feet slightly wider than hip width apart, with your toes turned out slightly, about 30 degrees. Then slowly lower yourself down into a squat position, going as deep as feels comfortable. If you need to hold on to a door frame, a countertop, or a sturdy piece of furniture, please do. That is not cheating. That is smart. Once you're in the position, just stay there. Breathe. Shift your weight gently from side to side. Let your hips explore the position rather than forcing them. You will feel this opening up your inner thighs, the front of your hips, your lower back, and even your ankles, all at once. It is one of the most efficient positions the human body can be in from a mobility standpoint. Start with 30 seconds and build toward 2 minutes over time. The depth of the squat matters far less than consistency. Even a high squat done daily will produce more change than a deep squat done once a week. But here is what I really need you to hold on to. The goal is not to look like an athlete. The goal is to be able to get down to the floor and back up with confidence for the next 20 years of your life. This exercise is how you protect that ability. Do not go anywhere, because exercise number 3 is the one that most of my patients say they wish someone had shown them 30 years ago. Exercise number 3, the hip flexor lengthening stretch, which many people know as the couch stretch or the kneeling lunge stretch. Let me explain what is happening in your body right now if you spend more than 4 hours a day sitting. There is a muscle deep inside your pelvis called the iliopsoas, and it is one of the most powerful muscles in the human body. It connects your lower spine to the top of your femur, your thigh bone. Its job is to bring your knee up toward your chest. Every time you sit, this muscle is in a shortened position. It is contracted. It is doing nothing, and the longer it stays in that position, the more it forgets how to fully lengthen again. Over time, a chronically tight iliopsoas begins to pull on your lumbar spine, the lower portion of your back, creating what is called anterior pelvic tilt. Your pelvis tips forward, your lower back arches excessively, and almost immediately you begin to feel lower back tightness, aching, and discomfort that seems to come from nowhere. Research from the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that anterior pelvic tilt secondary to tight hip flexors is present in over 60% of adults over the age of 65 who report chronic lower back pain. Over 60%. But the good news is that the iliopsoas responds remarkably well to targeted lengthening. Here's how to do it. Start by kneeling on one knee on a padded surface. A folded blanket or a yoga mat works perfectly. Your other foot should be planted flat on the floor in front of you in a lunge position. From here, keeping your torso upright, gently shift your weight forward until you feel a deep stretch running up the front of your back thigh and into the front of your hip and pelvis. That is your iliopsoas releasing. Breathe into the stretch. Do not force it. Let gravity and your breath do the work. Hold this position for 60 to 90 seconds on each side. If kneeling is uncomfortable, you can modify this by sitting on the edge of a firm chair, extending one leg behind you as far as it comfortably goes, and gently pressing your hip forward. The sensation should be the same. Do this exercise daily, and within 2 to 3 weeks, most people notice a significant reduction in lower back tension. Not because their back got stronger, but because the muscle that was quietly pulling on it finally let go. We are now at the heart of this video, and what comes next is the exercise I consider the single most important movement for anyone over 60 who wants to stay independent and upright for the rest of their life. Exercise number 4, the shoulder and thoracic spine opener using what I call the stick rotation. Most people think of shoulder problems as a shoulder issue. They are not. The vast majority of shoulder pain, neck stiffness, and tension headaches in people over 60 originate in the thoracic spine, the middle and upper portion of your back, between your shoulder blades. When this area stiffens, which it does gradually and silently over years of forward-leaning posture, your shoulders have nowhere to go. They round forward. Your chest closes. Your neck strains to hold your head up. And the muscles along the top of your shoulders, a group called the trapezius, become permanently overactivated, carrying tension that never fully releases. This matters beyond just comfort. Research published in the journal Age and Aging found that reduced thoracic mobility in adults over 60 is strongly correlated with increased risk of falling, reduced breathing capacity, and a decline in overall functional independence. Your posture is not just about how you look, it is about how long you can live independently. Here is the exercise. Take a broom handle, a walking stick, a long towel rolled tightly, or even a resistance band held taut between both hands. Grip it with both hands slightly wider than your shoulders. Stand or sit upright. Slowly raise the stick up and over your head in a wide arc, bringing it behind you as far as your shoulders comfortably allow. Then, bring it back to the front. That is one repetition. As you move through this motion, you will feel your chest opening, your shoulders rolling back, and the muscles across your upper back being gently mobilized. The key is to keep the movement slow and controlled. You are not swinging, you are guiding. If your range of motion is limited, that is fine. Start where you are. Even moving the stick halfway overhead is beneficial. Aim for 10 to 15 slow repetitions, twice daily. And here is something I want you to notice. After just a few repetitions, most people take a deeper breath. That is not a coincidence. That is your rib cage, which had been compressed forward by poor posture, beginning to expand again. Your lungs have more room. Your heart has more room. A simple stick and 2 minutes a day is doing more for your respiratory health than most people realize. One more exercise to go, and this one specifically targets the area most responsible for balance problems in older adults. The inner thighs and the hips working together. Do not skip this one. Exercise number 5. The lateral hip and adductor glide, sometimes called the Cossack squat or the side-to-side squat shift. Let me tell you about a muscle group that almost nobody talks about until something goes wrong. Your adductors, the muscles running along the inner surface of your thighs, are responsible for keeping your legs stable when you shift your weight from side to side. Every time you step off a curb, cross a room on uneven flooring, or reach to the side to pick something up, your adductors are working to keep you from tipping over. When they become tight and restricted, which they do after years of walking in a narrow forward-only pattern, your lateral stability suffers. And lateral instability is one of the primary contributors to falls. A study in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that adults over 70 with reduced hip adductor strength and flexibility were 2.5 times more likely to experience a sideways fall, the kind that results in hip fractures, compared to those with normal adductor function. 2.5 times. That is not a small difference. That is the difference between a scare and a surgery. Here's the exercise. Stand with your feet significantly wider than your hips, about twice shoulder width. You can hold a countertop or the back of a sturdy chair for balance support. Keeping both feet flat on the floor, slowly shift your weight toward one side, bending that knee while keeping the other leg straight. You will feel a deep stretch along the inner thigh of the straight leg. Hold for 2 seconds at the bottom of the shift, then slowly move your weight across to the other side. That is one complete repetition. Do 5 slow, controlled repetitions on each side. Over time, as your inner thighs loosen, You will be able to drop deeper into each side. But depth is not the goal. Control is. A slow, controlled shift at a modest depth is infinitely more valuable than a fast, uncontrolled movement that takes you further than your body is ready to go. And here is what I want you to understand about this exercise specifically. You are not just stretching a muscle. You are training your nervous system to trust your body in positions where most falls actually happen. Sideways, off-center, slightly unbalanced. Every time you practice this movement, you are telling your brain, I can handle this. I am stable here. And your brain believes you. Important warning. Before we go any further, I need to pause and say something directly to you. Everything I share on this channel is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not medical advice. It is not a substitute for a conversation with your own doctor. If you have a recent injury, a joint replacement, severe osteoporosis, or any condition that affects your balance or your bones, please speak with your physician before beginning any new exercise program. And do not push through sharp pain. A gentle stretch is productive. A sharp or shooting pain is a signal to stop. Now let me bring all 5 of these exercises together so you have a clear, complete picture of what your daily routine should look like. You begin every morning with the sciatic nerve glide. Before you even get out of bed, lie on your back. Hook your hands behind one thigh and gently extend and release your leg for 90 seconds per side. This prepares your nervous system for the day and releases the overnight tension that accumulates in your lower back and hips while you sleep. Then, once you're up and moving, you spend 30 seconds in the deep squat hold, holding a door frame for safety, letting your hips open up and your lower back lengthen. Over time, you will find that this becomes easier and easier, and that your ability to get up from low surfaces improves dramatically. Midday or before dinner, spend 60 to 90 seconds in the hip flexor stretch on each side, kneeling or chair modified. This counteracts every hour you spent sitting during the day and keeps your iliopsoas from quietly pulling your spine out of alignment. Then do your stick rotations, 10 to 15 repetitions with a broom handle or towel, opening your chest, mobilizing your thoracic spine, and giving your lungs room to breathe. And finally, close your session with 5 Cossack squat shifts on each side, training your lateral stability and loosening the inner thighs that protect you from sideways falls. The entire routine takes between 8 and 12 minutes. That is it. 8 to 12 minutes daily. Research from the National Institute on Aging suggests that consistent, targeted flexibility and mobility work performed for as few as 10 minutes daily can produce clinically significant improvements in functional movement, balance, and fall risk within 6 to 8 weeks in adults over 60. 6 to 8 weeks, not years, not decades, weeks. Here is what I want to leave you with today. Your body has not given up on you. It is waiting for you to give it the right signals. Stiffness is not a sentence. Restriction is not permanent. Every single exercise I showed you today is reversible. Every single one of them is something your body can respond to starting from the very first session. You did not lose your mobility overnight. It happened slowly, over years of sitting, of staying still, of being told that this is just what aging feels like. But just as it left slowly, it can come back slowly too. And every day that you do this routine, you are making a deposit into a bank account that pays out in years of independence. years of getting up and down from the floor without help, years of walking confidently without holding the wall. Commit to 8 minutes a day. That is the cost. And what you get back is your body on your own terms, moving the way you deserve to move. Now, if this video was helpful to you, I want you to go watch our video on the 5 balance exercises that protect against falls. Because what you learned today about mobility works best when it is paired with specific balance training. That video is on this channel, and it is waiting for you. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.